guys, Mina Fisher here. I wanted to go over how to do a C-section scar massage, but we're going to start with the superficial layer, the skin. So you all know your C-section incision because usually when I ask like how is your C-section scar doing, most of you say it's closed, it's healed, but there's so much more that happens beneath it. The incision line is actually just the tip of the iceberg. You know, there's so much more of scar tissue that happens underneath of it. So let me show you what's going on and how I want you to handle it. So my incision line is right here. Can you zoom in a little bit, please? Or get closer. So with your incision line, if you are 8 weeks post or beyond, hi. I want you to treat your C-section scar like piano keys, where you would lay your fingers on them. So just like a piano, how you would play the keys. With your incision, you're going to lay your fingers on this scar, and you're going to work by moving the tissue gently up. So you can see I'm just moving it up and down, and I want to find where the restrictions are. So the whole area of the scar might feel different. You might find like right here, I'm more restricted when I pull up more in that midline of the scar. So I would sit and hold that stretch, and that tissue should lengthen after it has just a sustained gentle stretch there. Your scar tissue is kind of like butter in the way that it melts and starts to change. So the more that you hold a gentle stretch, you'll start to feel it release, that you get a further stretch on it. So you can do this throughout the whole scar. And then tonight, that's all we're going to do there is holding and trying to figure out where exactly in the scar there's tightness, and where you can see as you hold it if you have improvements. So try that out tonight. We'll discuss more later throughout the week, but that's going to be our first piece. Thank you. For any of you mommies that are sooner in your recovery, so before 8 weeks, like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, don't mess with the scar itself until the doctor releases you and says that the scar is completely healed. Before that time, I want you to stay above the scar. So you're going to have a lot of inflammation up in this area, typically navel to a couple inches above the scar. So if my C-section scar is here, I want to stay above this. So some things that you can do before your 8-week release mark or 6-week release mark is gentle petting. So this would be the type of pressure that you would have when you are actually petting your dog or your cat. You want to work on moving this lymphatic fluid, this inflammation, off to the side. So gentle pets, I like to just tell my clients about 10 strokes on one side and then switch to the other. We want them to follow suit into your lymphatic system. So anything that kind of is in the upper coordinates tend to go out to the side, and anything here in the lower tends to stay pulled to the lower. But we want to let the body know that it's okay to go out to the side and then flush back out. Another little trick that you can do in your early weeks postpartum, and especially later postpartum, is a breathing technique. So you can work on first placing your hand on your belly button, and you're going to breathe in. As you blow out, you're just going to follow your belly down. Again, it's very gentle pressure. I'm not pushing down. I'm just following that breath down with the pressure of the weight of my hand. And then from there, you're going to move over to a corner, and it can be any corner. I call this technique the 5 of dice because you start in the center. Breathe in, exhale, follow it down, follow it down, and then you end back in the center on top of that navel or belly button. So for me, I call it 5 of dice again. Just like a 5 of dice, you've got your 4 corners in the center. Start in the end and in the center, following it down, gentle pressure. That is a good thoracic duct release for the lymphatic system. So it's going to flush you out. You might feel better afterwards, not as bloated, not as full, and it's a great little release. And the only time I wouldn't recommend doing that is if you are still bleeding postpartum or if you are on your menstrual cycle. But besides that, nice gentle pets off to the side, 5 of dice, and then you can also implement different textures, and I would do this at any point in our postpartum recovery too. We're getting a dry washcloth and just petting out to the side in this section above the C-section scar incision itself, and then you can get it wet and do a wet cloth as well, as long as you're staying off of that scar. You can do different textures like silky underwear or the bed sheet if you're laying in bed, and you can even do like a small thing of sandpaper. So your nervous system, the nerves get cut during your C-section surgery, and those nerves will grow back and become hypersensitive. So we want the nerves that are growing back to the surface level to calm down. So you can help them grow and help them calm down and decrease their sensitivity by using different textures. So that's the great thing about trying out the washcloth, the sheet, the sandpaper, any other textures. I could even use my shirt and do that as well. So give it a try, comment below, let me know how it goes.